What's going on, everybody? Well, we've made it to the last episode of this series, Advocacy versus Activism. So, in today's episode, what I want to do is I want to look into more of how this will apply to vaping. We've talked general advocacy, what it is, what an advocate is. We've talked activism, how it's been kind of shown in a bad light in the past, and kind of how to get around that by doing it in the right way, being very organized with how you're performing your activist activities, I guess you could say. Um, but I really want to take a look at how you apply this in a vaping sense, if that makes any sense. I know what I'm saying in my mind. Sometimes it just doesn't come out right, but we'll eventually get around to the point, and hopefully you'll understand it. If you don't, hit me up with a message, uh, leave a comment, leave a message, and I'll be happy to sit down with you. We'll go on a Zoom chat or Google Hangouts, whatever. If you ever need any information, please don't ever hesitate to contact me. You can find me on Instagram. You can direct message me there. Uh, that's really the easiest way to get a hold of me is through there. So let's look at this. We've covered advocacy, we've covered activism, we've now what an advocate is, you know what an activist is. So what does an advocate in vaping do? Okay. As a whole, in my opinion, an advocate supports is more of a supporter than an activist is. They're kind of in that supporting role. Uh, kind of the way I looked at it before was if we as activists are out speaking or doing whatever and we're kind of get down, the advocate could be the person that comes along and picks us up. Hey, you got this, we got your back. We're full on board with you. No matter what these people say, we're here for you. That's huge. That's huge for the people that are out on the front line to know that regardless whether it's a person there, it's a person on the other end of a phone line, the person on the other end of a message says, "Hey, I got your back." Supporting the activists like that is huge for an advocate. But that's not really the only thing that an advocate will do. Uh, you know, telling your story. Telling your vaping, your smoking slash vaping story. I smoked for 24 years and I got off of uh, cigarettes with this little thing right here, uh, an EVOD twist from Kangertech. Uh, everybody's story is different, and it's great to share that story. You're advocating by sharing your story. You're advocating by saying, "Hey, this is what's going on. Let me share this news with you. This is what's happening. This is how that vaping's being persecuted." And we don't need to share this with vapors. New vapors, yes, we need to kind of sprinkle them a little bit with information. We don't need to bombard them. Thanks for quitting. Now we need you to sign up for this, and we need you to send letters to these 14 people. It's a little much when someone's just starting vaping. So, but they also need to understand that it's very serious about what's going on, and this could be taken away at any point in time. The same way, I don't remember if it was San Diego or San Francisco. I don't have my phone in front of me to look. I think it was San Diego about they're banning all non-approved, non-FDA approved vaping devices. It's going well above and beyond what they need to do, in my opinion. Uh, but that's really up to their city and how they operate. And I hate it for the vaping community that's there. But I also want that community to know that we're as a vaping family, we're there for you, and we will advocate for you, and we will be as much of an activist from 3/4 the way across the country that I can be. So that's something that really needs to be taken seriously because of the way that they're treating vaping in that area. And I'm sure there's some people that I may know people in that area. I'm not for sure. I do have a few people that I know that are in California, but I don't exactly know where, and I don't not 100% sure if I know anybody close to there. But so back to what we were talking about. I do get distracted easily, and I apologize. Um, so with the advocate, you need to be supportive of the issue. So you need to support vaping. So we don't need to say the issue anymore. We're turning this towards vaping. So the advocate is going to support you know non-passing of the laws. They're going to support laws that are fair, which there's not one out there that I've seen yet that's been fair. Fair and balanced. That's supposed to be what this government's about. They have all these checks and balances to keep everybody from overpowering everyone else, but in turn, we the people are getting overpowered simply by them not being just. And honestly, I don't think banning any vaping device is being just. That's just my opinion. They're not going to do anything with it, but if we get enough opinions together, it can make a difference. And that's really where you advocate is, you get out there and you speak your mind in a tasteful way. Stay classy, San Diego. Uh, but doing it in a tasteful way is how you get people to understand. You don't want to come across as harsh or me. I have a tendency to come across as an asshole sometimes simply because I'm just, straight from mind to mouth. The filter's not really there a lot of times, and I'm very guilty of, just speaking out. Excuse me. Uh, just speaking my mind, and that's just who I am. So I really try to hold back and think about what I need to say, especially in a situation where I'm advocating to someone or about, I'm advocating for vaping to someone that's against it. The antis are far and wide. They're everywhere. They want everything gone. No smoking, no vaping, no drinking, no nothing. Wipe it all out. Uh, as long as it doesn't affect them. That's their biggest thing. They don't want to be affected with it, so they don't think any of us should have it, which is their opinion. They're fully allowed to have their own opinion, but they're not allowed to force that opinion on other people, and I see that happening a lot. But in the advocate realm, you want to, like I said, you want to share your story. You want to get to the people that aren't vapors, even if it's a smoker. Get to that person, explain it to them, and if they don't really want to hear it, don't force it. Just say, hey, can I have 2 minutes of your time to share this story with you about how vaping has saved my life in general. How much improvements have been made in my life since I switched from smoking to vaping. How much has my life changed? How much has my family's life changed? That's huge because there's this epidemic of kids and vaping, and that's actually going into the series that's going to come next. Is we're going to look at some FDA deals, and we're going to look at kind of funding. I want to dive a little deep in there and look at FDA funding versus other government agencies like OSHA. To me, OSHA is just as important as the FDA, if not maybe a little bit more. And I understand what the FDA does, and I understand what OSHA does. I have a very deep knowledge of what OSHA does and how they operate. So we're going to kind of look into that and look at some FDA funding and look at some OSHA funding and see the similarities and the differences and kind of find out, is OSHA funded by the government? Is OSHA funded by fees? Is FDA funded by the government? And kind of see. We'll get into that later. But that's what's coming up on the channel soon, probably next week, if not sooner. But also, while I'm thinking about it, there's going to be a live stream this Saturday, 3 o'clock Central Time on my channel. Anyone that would like to join this live stream, please let me know. Hit me up on Instagram. I don't know if you can hit me up on here. I guess you can leave it in the comment, and I'll get with you. If you would like to come on with me, and we can talk advocacy. Sorry, I just hit my mic. We can talk a little advocacy. We can share stories and things like that, just to get more awareness out there for what's going on. So now, when you look at the activist side of it, the activist is the person that's actually out there hammering the nails, so to speak. So, they're going to be the people that are taking care of the heavy lifting, more of the laborer, I guess you could say, in these two roles. Now, the advocate has their place, and the activist has their place, and there's a lot of people that can do both, and there's some people that are better at one than the other. But I've said in the past about if you're the person taking the letters to the post office. I almost said the mailbox, but the post office, for the person that can't get to the post office. That is an activist role, because you are making an effort to do something to make a difference. And that's the biggest difference that I've found between advocacy and activism. Advocacy is more on the speaking side of it, and activism is more on the action side. Of course, activism, action, it kind of goes together. But doing activism, we have to be very careful. Jay and I talked about this last Saturday. You have to be very careful, because people will judge you on your appearance. I've said it. I hate it. I cannot stand to be judged on any appearance. I'm not a rough looking guy. I do have a beard. It's not well kept 99% of the time, but that's just me. That's who I am. That's the way I like it. So I don't want people to judge me because of that. And a lot of times they will. If you have tattoos, if you have a long beard, people, if you wear a leather jacket, you're a biker. Even if you don't even own a bike. It's those kind of things that I can't stand. And that's, these, city, state, federal governments, they'll all judge people like that as soon as they see them. And you don't, God, I know people want to get out there and they want to do this. That, they want to get out there and they want to do something. And that's great. But you have to choose wisely on what you're going to do when it comes to your activism. You don't want to be that person that gives the antis more ammunition. Well, look at this guy. Look at how he dresses. Look at what he does. Listen to how he talks. And a lot of people will pick on me. I have a southern accent. I'm, originally from Tennessee. I live in Alabama. I've lived in Alabama for probably around 18 years now. This is who I am. I would say, fairly well spoken. But a lot of people will look down on me simply because of the way I speak. And I can't stand it, but there's nothing we can do about that. We just have to roll with those kind of punches. And so what we were talking about is become part of a group. An advocacy group makes a huge difference, because you can bounce ideas off each other, and you can pick the person that, speaks the best, or that has the best grasp of the information that you want to share. And that's huge, because if you get that person in front of the right people, there can be a difference made. But, there comes another form of activism is, say that person lives in Kansas and they need to get to Washington D.C. get in front of this panel of legislators to speak. You know, you may have a car wash, you may have a bake sale, you may have a yard sale, a garage sale, however you want to do it. I don't know how it works in Kansas. We say yard sale and garage sale, but I've heard it called a garage, and it's a totally different subject. But there's always a way to be an activist in a supporting role where you don't have to be up front because maybe you're not real comfortable with that, and I understand. I was that way for a long time where I was not comfortable enough to speak in front of people, and then I finally did it, and everything changed because now I can speak my mind, and I can help people to understand my opinion, which makes it a lot easier for me to get on here and speak to you guys. Uh, I hope that everything we've gone over has helped you make a difference in how you choose to be an advocate, an activist, or both. Some people have that ability to come out, step out, and they nail it the first try. They understand side A, they understand side B, and sometimes even side C, where they can, they're, I don't know how people do it. I'm more of a one track mind, and I can dabble in multitasking, but a lot of times it doesn't end up too well. So, what we want to do is, and this kind of came to me a while ago, and it's one of those things that I want you to kind of just take with you. This we're coming down to the end, and this is one thing I want to take with you. You don't have to do everything, but at least do something. Really, really think about that because, a lot of people will say, oh, there's so much to do in advocacy, and then there's so much to do in activism, and I need to be here, and I need to be here, and I need to be there, and I have to do this, and that. And they get overwhelmed. The key to that is surround yourself with a group of people, a group of like-minded people that can collectively make a difference. That's the only way this is going to work. There's a way you can make a difference on your own, but the difference from one person and the difference from a collective of persons or people, the difference you're going to make is astronomically more as a collective. So you want to take your one voice, put it in that collective, and make it 100,000 voices. So think about how much louder 100,000 people are than you. And that's something I really want you to think about. Look for the local groups where you are. There's a lot of local CASAs. Go on their site, ask about it. Even if you just want to go in there and say, hey, what can I do? I want to support you guys. I don't really do well with being in front of people, but I just want to be there to support you guys, to help you for whatever you need me to do. If you need me to bring you water, I'll bring you water. If you need me to go collect money at the stop sign that a lot of people do, that's something you can do. There's so much out there that needs to be done and that can be done. That at least do something. Don't sit back and say, "Oh man, I wish I could vape, but they took it all away. I don't know what I'm going to do now. I guess I'll just go back to smoking." That's not what we want. And people that are out there vaping, I don't think you want that either. But you got to do something. So, thanks everybody for tuning in. I hope that this series has helped you. I hope that it's made a difference for you. I hope that you have a better grasp of advocacy and activism, and how you can take your passion for vaping and take your love for vaping and turn it into something where you can make a difference. Because that's what we're here for. That's what I'm here for. I want to make a difference. I want to let my voice be heard, whether it's my actual voice or it's through actions of what I can do. They've always said actions speak louder than words. So let your voice be heard. Let your voice, let your actions, everything. So please, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If I need to do more, let me know in the comments. That's something that I really want, the constructive criticism. If you don't like something, please let me know, and I'll work on it. If something needs to change, we'll make a change. So, but don't forget, this Saturday, 3 o'clock, we're going live on my channel. We're going to do some advocacy talk. Poon Sauce won't be on that day, or Texas Cloudtown. They'll both be in Houston at the expo. So they may hop in for a few minutes while they're there and visit with us a little while. Don't know that just yet, but we are going to go live on my channel at 3 o'clock, or better yet, I am. So if you want to be in on that, man, hit me up, and we'll get you on. We'll do some advocacy. If you want to share your story, please feel free. So that's kind of what that live stream is going to go with. I really want to get the word out there. I'll be throwing it up on Instagram probably tomorrow, just to let people know, hey, hit me up. We're going to do some talking. We're going to do some advocacy. We're going to do some activism. And I really like the idea of sharing people's stories. We're kind of taking Poon Sauce McNasty's show and Weekend Wisdom and kind of putting them together in one live stream, but we can get multiple people on, kind of in and out. And everybody can share their story, and we can all have a good time. So, I really hope y'all tune in. And if you want to be on, let me know. Other than that, thank you guys for watching. If you've made it this far, hey, you're the best. So, and like I say every time, always let your voice be heard. Hope you have a good one.